biology, and he's been put in charge of the greenhouse.
More or less, yeah.
And I just want to introduce, we have Kale Lee here. Kale was a sustainability, geez.
It's okay.
Yeah, he worked for us as an intern in the summer. And this is Luke. Luke is now a current intern in sustainability. And over here, Hayden is also a current intern in sustainability. And over here, this is my research student, who I like to call Jake. And everybody here is really interested in seeing what Ron has to tell us about maybe growing some seeds here in the greenhouse.
All right. So first off, do you guys have any idea what you want to grow? Something like that. Any idea what is on your mind as to what you want to start here in the greenhouse? Because again, depending on what that happens, the video depends when we start them. Okay? So if you want to do things that are take a longer time to get going, like certain flowers and stuff, it take a while. So we kind of like next week, I'm going to be starting with Snapdragon. I'll probably actually do this Friday. Starting with Snapdragon. They start slow, they go slow, they look great around the season. Flowers are edible, but it's one of those things that it takes a while for them to get going. They're minuscule when they start up, and they're these little tiny, two little leaves for like a month, and then all of a sudden they start to go. So, but if I go through them now, and luckily they're a plant that can take the cold a bit, so I can get them going early. But I really put them on top of that. Whereas you try something like a tomato or pepper plants, those were way too early. We don't want to start those probably from March. They can't take any cold at all. They're bigger seed, so they have more stored nutrients. So it takes them less time to get going. So those you could put out, but we had to put out after frost. Any kind of frost, forget it again. even cool nights, even nights that are down in like the 40s, like the low 40s, they're not happy with that. So they'd rather go out and put them. So whether, again, the typical last frost date around here tends to be around Mother's Day. That's typical, but that's not always, obviously. So we have to keep an eye on the moon cycle. That actually affects it too. Just to keep an eye on what's going on at that point. We can always keep it in the greenhouse as long as we need to. No point in rushing it, because they'll do their thing. They'll have plenty of tomatoes and stuff later on. But if you put them out too early, they're dead. And we're wasting all that time to just spit trying to get them to grow and do their thing.
Right.
So what are you guys thinking about doing?
Well, I know that we're gonna try to keep on some of the traditions. I know that they usually have like a strawberry patch for one of them. I was thinking that
maybe it's already over there, so the patch.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe making it a little bit more diverse and trying to add some time around it. So have a time border, maybe interlay it with marigolds and something like that.
Okay, marigold's good. Thyme, it's a perennial. So something like that, we'd have to get the seeds in last fall, and sort of then and grow them on to this point. That way they'd be big enough and ready to go for the springtime. Because most perennials take a bit to get going. I'm not saying all of them would. That is if they couldn't use something else in replacement time. So you want something that's low growing around it. Yeah. So keep in mind something like that. If you're going to use a border, something that's already low growing in the first place, that spreads out by runners. The strawberries will probably climb right over top of the pine. So they'll probably slow the time out. So the marigolds go upright, less likely to have the time. Okay. So those are things to keep in mind.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, the one thing that I didn't know is if we plant the Three Sisters garden, or if someone else does that for us, is that something that we take over and I gotta help plan that out?
There is no someone else.
We are it.
There is no someone else that does it. It's all up to us.
Everybody here, this is it right here. So we have total control.
Yeah, so we have to keep up that's gotta be corn, beans, and squash. That I know we gotta do in that bed. I was thinking I couldn't remember what I wanted to do around it. Have it in notes around.
That's fine, Hayden. Yeah.
Yeah. So corn is one of those things you could do one of two ways. You can either do it in the greenhouse or in the greenhouse. Corn's a grass and it transplants very easily. So it's not one of those plants you have to worry about being delicate and transplanting. It wants to grow, so it's easy. Beans, direct seed, no point in throwing them inside because they come up so easy, so quick. There's no reason to put them inside. They just pop them anyway. Squash, that's your call. Squash can be done direct sown. It's no problem. They can be transplanted sort of indoors and transplanted. The problem with squash and any of the gourds, that family, is they don't like their roots to be disturbed. So if they end up being transplanted, you have to be a little gentle with them. They're the ones that will not take a beating. So if you want to do it that way, we can. We can't. It's one of those things where we have to do a little more gentleness in the transplant. But they look look great. They do well in the greenhouse environment. They grow really fast and everything else. So it's not that you can't do it. It's just keep in mind that they're a little bit less hardy to transplant.
Is there a way to protect them when we do transplant them, if we have to?
It's just using if I'm out doing my transplanting of my material, like I'll put the plant in, the gourds and stuff, just gently put it in. It's fine. Other things, basically throw it in the ground, it's fine. These things can be like. But nice thing is when you put it in the ground, a lot of times we like to pack soil around the roots, make sure it's nice and firm. With these, you don't do that. You make sure you put it in. Just gently kind of pile the soil around it, maybe a slight pat, and that's it. You don't want to push down on it. Because that's just going to hurt the roots, and if the roots get damaged too much, the thing just dies flat out.
Excellent.
While we're on the subject of squashes, I just wanted to mention that Rob and I discussed growing a certain type of squash, which would require a trellis, and I could actually show you a sample of what the squash looks like now that we're on. Hold on a second. This is a really special squash. Okay. So this is a photograph of the squash growing in my garden.
You guys can come around and huddle. I don't know how to do this. I'll just put it like that. There we go. Look at that.
Okay, that's a photograph of the squash growing in the garden. See it over there on the fence?
Yes. Oh my God.
Wow.
That's not full grown. That was about 3/4 grown before I picked it.
My word.
And then over here is one that I grew from this past summer.
Well, I thought the hovers were big.
Can y'all see it over there on the shelf?
Go to the right a little bit.
It's right there. See, I'm
Yeah.
pointing it to it. It's about 36 inches long and about 12 inches around.
Wow. Has it been at room temperature the whole time? Or?
Yeah, it forms a natural wax on it. So I grew this, of course, I picked this back in like October and I haven't eaten it yet. I had several more and I already ate those.
Wow, those are cool.
Yeah.
I got a lot of seed I got plenty of seed if y'all want seed for that.
Those would be a tough sell at a farmer's market.
And I usually start them in April. I start them around April 1st.
April 1st.
April 1st, yeah.
April Fools. Okay. Now, do you want to start them in the ground or?
No, I start them in my grow tent in the basement. I have like a grow tent.
April 1st. Yeah, those are definitely not frost tolerant.
Right. Okay.
So those, if we wanted to grow them, they do need a heavy trellis.
Yeah, that would have to be a heavy trellis.
Trellis. Hayden was on the trellis idea.
Yeah. I was hoping to I wasn't sure if I wanted to make if I want to do something a little bit smaller, like get like that cattle panel, and then try to like bend it over and like have it kind of do like an archway overwards, but
yeah.
Really like
an archway would be cool.
Yeah, and there's already those trellises that are out there. Those wooden trellises that are out there. I assume they'd be strong enough to withstand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can shore them up.
I worked there the last summer.
So
I remember writing a report being like, we should replace these.
All right.
So that squash can be picked early and eaten throughout the summer, or you can let it mature and then it'll make the wax coating and then it'll be shelf stable for months. So we don't have to let them get that big, is what I'm getting at.
What's the flavor like?
It's kind of like a light cucumber flavor. It's very absorptive of any kind of seasoning or spices. So I use it for, I make casseroles out of it. I make like curries. You can just use it as a
spaghetti squash.
It's super mild. Yeah, it's not stringy like spaghetti squash. The texture is more similar to a hard squash, like a texture like a butternut, but it doesn't have that sweet taste of butternut. It's just kind of like a super mild, slightly cucumber flavor. So it's absorptive. It like soaks up whatever seasoning you cook it in, basically.
Send the seed. Yeah, we'll take some seeds, Ivana.
Okay, I can bring some in.
Yep. Yeah. How about Luke? Do you want to talk a little bit? Do you have any interest in growing anything you'd like to grow? Or
I don't know. I mean, this is all kind of new to me.
yeah, Luke is brand new at the university, so we're gonna give him quite a ride, right? Right, Hayden. And
You mentioned marigolds. Marigolds are a great idea for lots of reasons. One, the flowers are edible. Not the greatest tasting flower in the world, but they are.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. They are also really good as a natural bio inhibitor of other insects and stuff. So the legs are good. Fast growing. You can plant them deep. They like the root systems down deep, so you can get the plant itself and kind of shove it in the ground, and it has no problem with that. And there's all kinds of tall ones, short ones, all kinds of colors and stuff. The French type, African type, all different kinds of marigolds you can grow. There's a signet type, and a few different types you can grow. So it depends on what you're looking to do. So.
Yeah.
I know that like one of our goals for the garden is that like it's supposed to be like something that like students are supposed to like kind of take advantage of. I read on the page like so I want to do something like a bed that's like easy recognizable. So like we can do beginner stuff like peppers and tomatoes and stuff that can just take in all that sun, and like hopefully one of the beds can be like that, and then like probably like an herb section over there as well that like kids can easily recognize and hopefully use. And
hey, Ron, question. What about prep? When we prep the amendments, that sort of thing?
Yeah, good question. So you try to wait so the soil is obviously warm enough, which is going to be
a while.
A little while. And you try to make sure that it's not overly saturated. So in other words, it's not like you think you can like wring out the water kind of thing. You never want to work on soil that's like that, because all you're going to end up doing is compacting it anyway. Right. So at that point, I usually at home, I usually start working my garden, I'd say mid-April-ish, something like that.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. Because things like peas and beans, they can go in like really early. You can put peas in as soon as the ground's working.
Yeah.
They can go really early. Things like the cold crops, so things like the brassicas, so cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, that kind of stuff.
Arugula.
Arugula. Yeah.
Arugula.
They can all, if you like flea beetles, it's great.
Arugula is the fastest of all the greens. It'll be ready in about 5 weeks to pick from the time you plant it. And I usually plant it in my garden on the first week of April.
1st of April. Okay.
Well,
That's when I plant it, because I'm trying to max out my food production from my garden.
Yeah, fantastic.
Radishes can go in very early. Oh yeah, really radishes.
What about
Radishes? Oh yeah, radishes are fast.
Beets are somewhat frost tolerant, so they can actually go in early too. And actually, those we can start indoors.
Let's do beets indoors.
Beets indoors.
All right. I love beets.
And beets can take a beating.
Yeah.
They
Haha.
I remember back in like December.
Oh, absolutely.
We were still
harvesting. Oh yeah.
Like December.
So you can pop them out of the ground. It's fine. Yeah, and they actually get
Yeah.
sweeter.
They weren't pretty, but like they've been beat. They literally have been beat up for lack of better term.
Carrots are great.
Carrots.
Yeah.
Carrots, we can start early, or
Yeah.
Carrots, well, you can. Carrots, my experience, carrots are best planted in August. The fall crop.
for the fall crop. Okay, around here.
Because in the springtime, they tend to taste kind of bitter.
Yeah.
In the summertime, when you harvest them, if you plant them in the late summer and then go into the fall and winter, so much sweeter.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I've experienced that too. Yeah, they get sweeter in the fall from the frost.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Okay. What about potatoes? Might be tough.
No, potatoes aren't tough. You can't do it from seed. You have to do it from eye. Yeah. And you can just go to your local grocery store and buy a bag of organic potatoes. If that's only just a few, there's no point in ordering them.
But they'll pretty much like grow.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But again, they're a tough one, mostly because we have a lot of issues with the Colorado potato beetle around here.
Right.
So you really have to be on top of the plants and make sure you go out there. There's only a few plants, hand pick the bugs off and just do it that way. Where I work in the summertime, we have to spray for them. There's so many of them. They're annoying.
Yeah. Sure. I did have one other question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You were talking about soil, and when we were working in the permaculture garden, was it last summer? I don't even remember. Time is weird now. But when we were working there last summer, some areas of it just didn't produce anything. So I was curious, do you do soil surface analysis
I don't have anything here, but we certainly can purchase some sort of a soil test kit and do that too.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. There's all kinds of things out there.
Okay.
If you want to spend $20, we can take soil samples from each of the gardens, put it together in a bag, and send it off to the agricultural training station, and they'll do a complete analysis for us for $20.
That's what we should do.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I think.
It's not hard, but you have to wait for the soil to become workable, obviously. And that
So-
doesn't matter. They'll tell you how wet or dry they want it. And usually going to wet, they'll tell you when to do it.
So maybe end of March type of.
You could probably take it at that point, end of March.
Yeah.
So my experience with the UMass soil analysis lab, if you send them your soil analysis in March, sometimes they don't give you results until June because they get really backed up.
Oh, aren't they lovely?
Yeah, so
Yeah, so I
we
guess-
need to get it. We need to send out the soil analysis this month if we want to have
Can
results in time to before April, so that we can
Okay.
use the information to amend the beds before we start planting.
Yeah, we certainly can try that. Just try to get some soil samples if we can. Another option is to get the samples when we can, still get a small home test kit type thingy, and
Yes.
at least give an idea as to what the NPK is.
Yes.
And have an idea what that's about, and then we can figure out what else needs to be adjusted. Yeah, most of the time,
Right.
micronutrients is not a problem.
And we-
like boron, calcium, those are all fine.
Yeah.
It's usually your NPK that ends up being nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and that's a problem.
All
And
right.
pH is the other thing that we'll need to check as
Yeah,
well.
around here, yeah.
I bet we have some pH equipment.
Yeah, see, it's funny.
in the house.
Where I used to live when I grew up, pH was always high. We were in the 8s. Oh yeah, so I have no issue. But around here, the pH is my soil where I live right now is 5.5.
Yikes.
Yeah, so it's a little acidic.
It's acidic.
It's hot and horrible. Yeah, so trying to grow things that like it sweet, this doesn't work. Luckily, most veggies are in the middle of the road. They don't care one way or the other for the most part. A few of them do, but in general, they like it to be somewhere around neutral. You know what I mean, so if we're too acidic, it's okay. They don't mind it, but they don't grow as nice. Too sweet, again, no issue, but really doing a little better. But yeah, usually you want your soil around 6.5-ish. You're usually the best for most vegetables that we grow.
Yep.
Is there any? Go ahead. You have a
Oh no,
question?
I was saying that's really cool.
Okay. I have a question. Should we grow any berries? And if so, what type? And how can we control them from going out of hand?
Other than strawberries here, right?
Yeah, well, we got a problem with the strawberry.
Well, one thing that's odd is that we could actually grow cranberries if we wanted to, because cranberries don't have to be in a box. They just happen to be there because that's where they can grow. Okay? So they've adapted to that environment, so they're fine. But they don't mind common garden soil. They grow fine in regular garden. They don't want it too rich. You know what I mean? But in general, they're fine with it in common garden. If you wanted to grow cranberries, you can do that. And the only reason they put them in bogs and they float them like that, they just use it for harvest.
Right.
You can just
More
take them
efficient.
over and pick the berries if you want. They're there. You don't have to float them.
Yeah. Okay.
Other kinds of berries. So, there are dwarf blueberry bushes. We want to go more of a bush type thingy. There are some that only get maybe 3 to 4 feet, and that's it. That's the thing they get.
Yep.
Most time, berries are tough. Berries
Yeah.
have more area than we have for that garden area. Unless you want to go like one block to just like blueberries.
Yeah.
That's kind of included.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But other than that, the berries are tough because most of the time they can be on bigger things.
Yep.
Well, you could try. Tiger over here.
I think there is a. Oh, I think having some berry bushes would be a really appealing thing for students who are walking by.
Yeah.
I mean, more so than potatoes where they have to get down and dig it out of the ground. I mean, in terms of thinking about students actually engaging with the garden and taking the produce, things that are recognizable and don't require like heavy labor to harvest them are probably a good way to go.
What's that?
What about a raspberry? They
Yeah,
usually do.
Yeah, they grow like weeds is the one issue.
Yeah, raspberries.
Oh, we can control
Oh
it.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so raspberries are 2 different types. There's primocane
Yep.
and floricane. So it depends on the type you grow. So sometimes there are raspberries that'll fruit and flower and fruit the same year as growth, and they keep them that year to year. Other times, some of the raspberries are what are called primocane, floricane. So they produce a primocane the first year. The second year, they produce one that fruit. So depending on what you can get, you may have to wait a few years to get fruits off of it.
Yep.
Okay. if you wanted to do, we could do what is this odd honeysuckle that produces little blue fruits that look like blueberries with a long skin. That means I think what else we could do. I try to stay away from the hardy kiwi vine only because I know it's invasive in some places. Not here usually, the issue, but you also need to know plants to produce flowers and fruits.
Are those the little tiny ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're delicious. But yeah.
I'm growing that at my house.
Are you? Yeah. Yeah, we're right on the edge of that zone for them. They're up to like zone 5B or so, but we're on that edge, so they survive okay here. Yeah. And they haven't been shown to be invasive here, but if you go south of here, if you go to like New Jersey and south, you're not supposed to grow them down there. All right. Supposed to. I'm not saying they don't. Yeah. You could grow those, they are ground cherries, pistillus. So they look like little tomatoes.
Yep.
With a taste like a cross between an orange and a grapefruit kind of thing. They're spicy, citrusy. Yeah. I love those.
They're good.
Those are really cool.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah.
That's a nice fruit.
Colorful. Yeah. Okay.
And those are easy to pick too. And those you can train up. They're even floppier than tomatoes, but you use like a tomato cage and something like that. If they kind of come up off the ground, which is good because if we're on the ground and all the fruits, we don't get any. Yeah.
They tend to self-sow and come back the next year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They self-sow like crazy. But the thing with those is you got to make sure that the student understands not to pick in green because they are poisonous green. So they have to.
They taste nasty too when they're green, so nobody will want to eat it.
Oh yeah, they taste horrible. You wouldn't eat it anyways. Wow, they spit it back out. If you tried to eat the whole thing, you wouldn't. They're poisonous to the fact you're not going to die, but you're not going to feel. You're going to have some gastrointestinal distress.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, I think Ron, we'd love to see where we might be able to grow these in the greenhouse. So, you guys go ahead. I'll be right in the back here. That is a big water bottle again.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
Like a camel, but
Here we go.
Can you get a little closer to him so I can hear a little better?
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is the research greenhouse. So it's right now we have a series of research going on. This is being done by Christy Brandon and Kim McCoy from Case. So it's a series of middle schoolers that are going to be looking at erosion control or beach erosion control utilizing beach grass and strawberries. Okay? So they're going to put these flats into a wind tunnel, turn the breeze on, and then they're going to see how much of the actual sand is taken away based on the root system of the plants that are being grown. So we've been here a couple weeks now. Lucky our plants is back with them again. We do see the grasses have already been taken out. This strawberries look great because they look like that when they came in. So they're looking great. So they're coming up really nice. They're all
very nice,
ready to go. So and then these guys are the controls. So there's 6 empties.
Okay.
So these will be the controls. So we'll see how much sand blows away from these, and then compare that to how much blows away from the ones that have the plants in them. So it's kind of cool.
Got it.
And then I got to hit him with some fertilizer. I think next week to give him a boost.
Dry them out.
The study starts mid-March. So they're going to be growing out for about a month, which in all reality isn't a lot of time, but it'll still give some good data. It'll still give them a good idea as to how effective these could be at stopping soil erosion. Not that strawberries normally grow on a beach, but strawberries are pretty adaptable. I mean, they grow pretty much anywhere in all reality. I mean, they're not the best beach growers, but they're something to do if they were there. So the research behind you is one that finished up this past summer. So those are some Jack in the Pulpit plants. So they've just been left to dry out. The corms are in the soil. Those we were doing some point. I have to get a hold of Dr. Minnie Branch. That's her stock. So those will be gone. And then we have this entire bench here. There's a study on milkweed plants that we started sowing. I think those are going to be. So, and we also have the rolling carts. And then the last greenhouse is our air house, but then it's pretty empty at the moment, so we certainly can, if we have to, we can spill over into that house with no problem. I have everything kind of spread out right now in the last greenhouse just to kind of take space up. We can easily consolidate a lot of stuff back on benches and stuff. We don't have more room, so it'll probably be in here more than likely. But then we'll also have, you know, a spill room over there, and plus we also have room in the head house too. So the head house can also be used for growing some on.
Can we find out more about the watering system that's available in the greenhouse?
Sure, absolutely. So the water over here, we have. I have a nice gentle waterer just for you. So actually, I just purchased this. So it's called a Wonder Waterer. So it's a nice low flow water head sprayer on it. So it does not blast the plants or the seeds out of the soil. So hoses right here. Try to keep the hoses off the floor when they're not using it. I was using it on the floor. Okay? And I usually take this off on the end just to make sure that the hose empties itself out. So when I'm done watering, take the end off. Leave the other end is fine. Most important part is to keep the end of the hose off the floor. So keep this up out of in here is fine. That's not a problem. And one of the main reasons is it keeps, if you have any kind of a disease, whatever, on the floor, and you've now put your hose on the floor, well, guess what the disease is now on your hose?
Yeah.
And you're now watering your disease all over the place.
Right.
So try to keep the hoses up off the floor as much as possible.
Is there any hydroponic watering equipment or underneath watering equipment available? No. Okay.
There is not. No.
Okay.
No, so,
I was just.
I mean, we have the little bank emitters. So we do have these type of things for like.
A drip system. Oh, is that like a drip line that you have built in in the whole space?
Yeah, but I mean,
that's good.
You could put these into the trays that the stuff is in and water it with this. That's
good.
possible.
Oh, that would be great because I know that fungus tends to be more likely to grow if you top water, and that can be more challenging for the starts.
So I would think we try to avoid damping off as much as possible.
Yeah.
But the one plus for it being in here is we have fans that are running almost all the time.
So
it's extra airflow, so it cuts way down on
good. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, because my next question was going to be if there's electricity available to put little clip fans on the starts.
So if you look under the benches, you see there's little outlets under there, like little covers on them.
Okay, so we could add clip fans if we needed to.
That's where the power is.
Yeah.
You have to crawl under the bench to get to the outlets.
Okay. Okay.
And the water hangers too. So, and again, if you guys wanted to try to I don't know, think something that kind of trails whatever, and you wanted to start things in hanging baskets, we can do that too. We can use the different emitters on those. That's also a possibility. Say you want to start something like nasturtiums, which work great in the garden, edible flowers again. Actually, the whole plant's edible. But they actually work really well in hanging baskets too. So I mean, that's always a possibility.
Nice. Is there a timer? Is there a timer on the drip irrigation setup? Is there like a?
There is. I have to set it up through the computer, so I need to know when you want the water to come on and go off and how often.
Oh, okay, so we could have an automated watering system for the starts by basically having them in trays, and the water would come on in the drip irrigation and fill the tray that it's sitting in.
Yeah, and I'm always here anyway, so I will always check to make sure that stuff's getting watered where it's supposed to be. So if for some reason the drip irrigation is not working, I'll make sure things are also watered.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I do everything else, so. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking it would be great to have some type of automation. So because that's the thing that typically takes the most amount of time tending the starts is like, day to day is just checking to make sure that they're the proper moisture and watering them.
Yeah. And the one thing we don't have is a germination chamber, but for the most part, I do have heat mats. So if something really needs bottom heat, we can do that.
Yes.
The greenhouse usually stay warm enough, so that's not usually an issue for a greenhouse to have things started. We don't need a germination chamber. But some things are what's nice is we've done this intentionally. Most vegetables easily germinate. That's just what they do. When it comes to flowers, however, I like to grow a lot of flowers. A lot of flowers are very finicky and very specific requirements for what they need to germinate. A lot of them need light for germination. That used to be the way for lettuce. Most of your heirloom lettuces, almost all of them require light for germination. Most of the modern lettuces don't. So more recent cultivars don't require light for germination, which is nice. But again, but most veggies, they're usually pretty good about it.
Okay.
What's also nice is most veggie seeds are big.
Yeah.
A lot of the flowers you are like dust. It's like you're like, what's the seed? Is that going in there?
How many? Yeah.
Yeah.
I also noticed here in the middle, it looks like a little temperature and humidity type of thing, but
that's the sensor from the link system. So I was telling the on needs to go off.
Huh. I can't hear what he's saying, but that's interesting. Link 4.
Link 4, yeah.
Link 4, yep. Link 4 system, yep.
So that provides you information?
What's that?
Where do you receive that information about the temperature and humidity?
Yep, there's a computer station out in the head house.
Oh, okay. Cool. Do you have starting equipment that we can use, or do we need to purchase that through the sustainability program budget?
The freezer stuff, yep. So we can go look at those.
Okay.
Okay.
They just came in.
Oh, I guess.
They've been here maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks.
Okay.
So there are these domes that he said he doesn't have, which we might want to get.
Domes? Okay.
Yeah, they're like a clear plastic dome that goes over the seed start in trays.
There's some domes. You see them on top?
Oh, the domes. Yeah, he has the domes. I thought he said he didn't have domes.
Yeah, I don't have a lot, but I have some. I think it depends on how much you guys want to get going.
That's probably enough for the amount of starts we're going to realistically be able to do.
Probably 7 there.
Yeah.
That's plenty of domes, because you only use the domes when the plants are pretty small.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a ton of starts right there.
And then everything else is here for you guys. So we have the trays here. Now you can either use.
Do they have you have the little cells for the starting?
So these are the ones that have the open bottom.
Right.
See the on top there, those are tiny ones.
Tiny ones. Okay.
I have, what did I get? I got 128s and I have 72s. I got 128.
Do you have something that fits with those domes that you have? That's the same size for the small one?
I don't. Just those domes that are up there.
So we might need to. We'll figure out the dimensions of those and maybe find a dome.
Yeah.
I got 128s and 96s.
Okay. And do we have any trays that don't have holes in the bottom? Like if we wanted to bottom water by letting the water fill in the tray? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep, the green trays up there.
Those are okay.
Some of them have holes, some of them are solid. We can make them solid. The holes
I see.
Tiny, you know what I mean? So the water will take a long time to go out anyways.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Hey,
and then do you have any?
Go ahead.
Oh, do you have any of the like sometimes seed starting equipment you can get like a cloth mat that you put underneath the cells, and that you put that over a tray that's upside down inside of a larger tray, and you put water in the bottom of the tray and it seeps up through the fibers, and then like slowly waters. You don't have anything like that? I was just curious. That's one system that I have at home that I've used before.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, we don't have anything like that. And in all reality, very little seed sowing has happened here in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe a tray or two of things here or there. So
right.
really hasn't been much of a call for it. So this is literally all within the last few weeks.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And I'm trying to get it so we can do more stuff here with that kind of material.
Cool. That's exciting. Thank you.
I don't have any automatic seeders, that kind of stuff. So all this is going to be done by hand.
Yep.
Tapping the packet kind of thing. If
you
want to buy one of those little vibrating seed thingies, you're welcome to.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessary, but there is a.
I do everything by tapping the packet. Old school. Yeah.
I got a kind of a measurement question. If we develop, some soil moisture probes with little loggers on them, that's something that we could install in whatever we're trying to grow just to monitor, or do you already have some sort of soil moisture probe?
I don't have anything for soil moisture.
Okay.
So if that's
okay.
To add
or
to
temperature. Okay. Yep. Great.
Rob, that's something you can buy. You don't have to build it. My husband and I have one, and we use a hydroponic setup at the house. So we use one huge tray that covers a 4 foot by 3 foot table, and all our starts sit down in there. and we have a tank on the floor of water that has fertilizer in it. And there's a pump in the tank, and there's a humidity temp device that we stick into the soil. And when the humidity reaches a certain level, it triggers the pump to pump the water into the hydroponic tray so all the plants can soak up the water. And then that is timed, has a timer, and it runs for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, the pump shuts off, and there's a drain that goes back into the storage tank, basically. So after many years of manually managing our starts, which took us about 45 minutes every 2 to 3 nights to bottom water everything, we were like, screw this, we're going to automate it.
Oh, fine.
And that's what we came up with.
Okay.
So that's what we do. There are other ways to do it. It's just, they're just more labor intensive because you have to manually keep checking it. Like, you know, he's like, I'll check it. But that's something that we could do in the future if we want to reduce any kind of manual checking labor, or we don't have somebody to help check it, you know, every few days or whatever.
Right. But, you know, as a greenhouse, conditions are so controlled here.
Yeah.
We don't expect it to
there's
get
that
very
too,
cold.
Plus, eventually, I mean, I'm over here pretty much every day anyway, so I'll be. I run to the greenhouses every day.
Perfect. Okay.
So I run through every day, and then when somebody gets out here full time, they'll be the same thing. They'll be here, 40 hours a week kind of thing. So.
Okay. Oh, there'll all be somebody there. Okay, great. I wasn't really sure. That's why I was wondering.
Even though I'm part time, as it were, I'm usually over at least every other day, if not every day. I'm over here doing.
Okay. Is this a staff position for you to manage the greenhouse?
Remember, it's being recorded.
Yeah. Yes and no. I'm barely under the radar of being illegal because I'm officially APA, and this position has asked me.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm double dipping to a degree.
Yeah.
So I'm only allowed to be over here X number of hours a week. I go way beyond that, and I only earn X number of dollars, which is a set amount. So yeah, so I mean, I'm over here probably, depends on the week. Sometimes I'm over here 15 hours or so a week, and I get $100 for a week. You know what I mean? So I'm not getting paid anywhere near what I should be getting paid, but that's what they can pay me. So it's what it is. I want the greenhouse to do well. I want you guys to be over here doing your research and stuff. So that to me takes precedence over what I get paid to do. I do it for free if I had to. I mean, it's nice that I get a small stipend for it, but in all reality, I still do this anyway. I love plants. I love being over here. So for me, this is just labor of love, and it's fun to be here and see stuff going on. So, all right. You guys are always welcome to come over. So when it comes to access to the greenhouse, there is a greenhouse key, all right, in the biology central office. Okay. So obviously Sue has to be there. Sue has to be in there to get the key. Okay. It's in a small filing cabinet. So if you go to the main door of the central office, back right-hand corner is a small 2-drawer filing cabinet with a printer on top of it. Bottom drawer, there's a metal box inside that drawer. That's a key box. In there is a small little envelope. It says greenhouse on it, and in there is the greenhouse key. Don't be surprised over everybody missing, because I've got 2 work-study students, and I have 2 other people who are also coming over to use the greenhouse. So again, that key. But if it's missing, you know who's over here, and just knock on the door.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's fantastic, Ron. I think that
we're
definitely going to take you up on this offer to allow us to grow some seeds here. And I think all the students are excited. So I want to, thank you very much for giving us a little.
Get your seeds from?
Well, there's a place. Do you have an idea?
No, I've gotten some online and stuff like that. But like some through Berkey, some through other places, some heirloom seeds here and there.
But I like Johnny's. I think Johnny's is a great company. They're out of Maine. Yeah, so it's local. You know that the veggies are hardy enough, but they grew in Maine, so they're going to go in.
And Fedco.
I try to avoid Lowe's, Home Depot, and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Barry Morris isn't bad. They're okay for a company. But a lot of the ones you get in the stores, they're either the rejects from the companies you order from online, or the packages are really light. You don't realize how much is in there. Like it'll say like 200 grams. Okay, well, how many seeds are in a gram? Right? So if it's a sunflower, you get like 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful when you're buying the things at the local stores and stuff. And usually online, it'll tell you number of seeds per ounce, number of seeds per gram, whatever, and it'll indicate how much that is, and it'll tell you how many seeds are in a packet. Yep. So yeah, so keep an eye on that kind of stuff. Especially if you don't know how many you want to grow. Expect 10% loss. So So no matter what you do, expect at least 10% to either not germinate or fail crop, whatever. Expect at least 10%. That's what you expect.
Okay.
Even the best gardeners will tell you that all their stuff germinates, everything works well, so it's bound to happen.
There's a nursery that I went when I did like my small garden by myself near where I live, where it's over in North Attleboro. Do you think it's still better just get it online rather than even?
Oh no, that's fine. Most of your smaller nurseries, they do a better job at the seeds that they tend to bring in, that kind of stuff. It's the big box stores.
Yeah.
But I try to avoid it as possible.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also too, keep in mind things like if you want to grow like heirloom tomatoes. All right, maybe at the end of the season you want to harvest your own tomatoes and just keep the seeds over and do what you have to and grow them again next year. Save yourself money by having some saving the seeds. You know, tomatoes, peppers, lots of things you can do that with. Squash.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of stuff. So avoid anything that says hybrid. Lots of times the hybrids are things that aren't viable anymore. They'll produce seeds, but seeds aren't working.
Okay. And soil, ProMix, Johnny's, or can we get it locally?
Yeah, for the soil, I've got 3 bags over there in the corner that are designed for seed starting. So they should be over there. I think it's going to be over there.
Yep.
I just got those from the greenhouses, so there's 3 bags over there.
Oh, good. Do those have myco?
Do they have mica in them?
Myco. Mycorrhizae.
I don't. Did I do that? Did I do mycorrhizal or not? I don't think I did, Brady. I don't think I did.
We can get a mycorrhizae to add to it if it doesn't already have.
Yeah, I don't
inside.
think I did. I don't believe.
That'll really help the vegetables do better.
No mycorrhizae in this one, no.
Okay.
That's fine. We can deal with that.
I might have something here actually. I have to check the cat. I don't know
Great.
what's on left behind. I may have to write down it. Yeah. The things he had were like from decades ago, so I probably wouldn't use it anyway.
Do we have bean inoculant already?
What's that?
Do we have bean inoculant available already, or should we purchase some for planting our beans?
Awesome.
Bean inoculant?
Inoculant.
What is it?
An inoculant?
Bean inoculant. It's the type of mycorrhizae specifically for growing beans. And your beans will grow way faster and better.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay, we'll get that too.
This is all kind of new for this greenhouse. We do a lot of seed starting.
Yeah.
So no.
Okay.
But if I know this is going to be happening consistently, I'm more than happy to have work together as an order some stuff and get some things that we need for the greenhouse to make sure that things are going off well.
Okay.
Excellent.
Well, we'll be getting some.
The inaugural crew here. It's great.
Yeah, that's good.
I want to thank everybody for coming, and thank you, Ivana, for joining us.
Thanks.
Online.
Thanks for doing this.
Ron,
Are we going?
especially you. Well, we'll see you soon again.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, you guys are welcome.
All right. Let me see.
Guys, good luck.
Rob, are we going over to the permaculture garden now?
Yeah, I was gonna walk over there just to get some dimensions. I mean, it's obviously snow covered, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you would like to.
Get the size of it.
Yeah, let's get the size of it. I got till 2 o'clock, so 45 minutes.
Okay.
I stopped the recording, by the way. So
That's...
And then talking last year, one of the things we had noticed that there's a series of lavender plants that are down one side of the garden. Lavender does not like